Okay, so we've got as far as doing all the calculations. We need 100,000 carbon factories. We need £16 million of investment per factory. We also need 17% of the area of Australia or thereabouts. Just one or two other ideas that I have. This doesn't necessarily have to be done on such a large scale. Imagine, for example, there is a windy region which could power a small windmill, wind power generator. That in itself could be used as the energy source for dissociation of carbon, and providing it somewhere remote. There's no reason why the machine itself shouldn't produce not huge amounts, but some carbon over a period of time, extracting it from the atmosphere and then just allowing the wind to blow it away. Clearly, that's not something that you would want to do in a rural environment for obvious reasons. I live next door to a foundry, and I know what that does to my car when they clean out the chimneys. So, not a good idea. Excuse me. Equally, the possibility of having these things wave powered or wind powered, wave powered or hydro powered through rivers and streams and that sort of thing, providing, of course, there's no impact on the local wildlife. Just producing small amounts of carbon over long periods of time, and just generally, scrubbing and cleaning the atmosphere and then depositing the carbon as solid into the appropriate course. So we're not necessarily having huge factories producing this stuff, but it can be done much more locally on a global scale where it's appropriate, and everyone takes out, perhaps even every country takes out what they're producing. The other possibility is that the poorer parts of the world may be able to have carbon factories, and of course that would generate riches for them in terms of A, they'd be paid by the rich nations to remove the carbon from the atmosphere, and B, having removed the carbon, they could then transport it using vehicles powered by the same fuel to other parts of the world, and then used as a renewable resource. So there's quite a lot of activity that can take place. The first step is to dissociate the carbon from the CO2 in the atmosphere. This has been talked about on a number of forums, and I think it's always been held up as one of the problems is the amount of energy that's required to achieve it, and therefore it's a non-starter. What I'm suggesting is that whatever energy is required to achieve it comes from a renewable resource, and that can be done where the renewable resources are most abundant, be they wave power, wind power, hydropower or whatever. And because you're effectively generating a renewable fuel without taking up valuable farmland, without having people, having to cut down rainforests for making way for new fields to grow biodiesel and all that other nonsense, then maybe it's just a better alternative. So if you like the idea, tell your friends, and let's get some discussion going, and maybe get someone to listen. I did try and log on to the website for Richard Branson and that lot, Saving the Planet, but unfortunately they were, for whatever reason, was never able to fill in a form, and so that didn't go very far. So my only opportunity to share it is on YouTube, and I'm hoping that somebody will listen, and if somebody tells somebody, then maybe somebody somewhere will do some work on it. And if anybody spends as much work on this as they are trying to make perpetual motion machines or over Unity devices, then I'm sure there could be some progress made. As I understand it, there may be a possible side effect in the generation of carbon from CO2, and that's the possibility of generating ozone, but I believe that can be dispersed by high temperatures, which is what's going to be required by the process in the first place, so that might actually sort itself out. But if somebody wants a university project, then why not take on the idea of actually doing this, produce a machine into which energy goes and the output is solid carbon from the atmosphere, and make that process as efficient as possible. And who knows, you may even get a Nobel Prize. It's not something I'm going to do, although I'd like to try, but sadly I don't have the technology or the time. But best of luck, everybody, and for all of those out there who are interested in not saving the planet, because the planet can look after itself, but continuing to make the planet habitable for our future generations, then the best of luck to you. and enjoy the ride.